The media is guilty of every single solitary thing they have been accusing me of over the last 24 hours. The media is the sewer. They are the swamp. And there's part of this incestuous corruption and conflict, and they sure as heck don't want to talk about or care about transparency. Here's just a few examples why. Take a look at ABC News. George Stephanopoulos, the so-called journalist that secured the first interview with disgraced former FBI Director James Comey, the guy who literally is carrying out a personal vendetta against President Trump. Now, did George Stephanopoulos ever disclose the fact that during the interview that he worked on Bill Clinton's '92 presidential campaign and was a communications director and then served in the Clinton White House as a senior advisor? And since the liberal media appears to be suffering from amnesia, here's a clip from the documentary. It's called The War Room. Yeah, George Stephanopoulos advocating for the Clintons. Take a look.
What is names, address? I can send you a fax with names, addresses, phone numbers of who you had an affair with. It wouldn't make it true. It is completely. If you went on the radio and said that Bill Clinton is the father of an illegitimate black child, you would be laughed at. People would think you're crazy. I guarantee you that if you do this, you'll never work in Democratic politics again. Maybe you don't want to. I'm not saying it matters. You will be embarrassed before the National Press Corps. People will think, nobody will believe you, and people will think you're scummy.
You'll be embarrassed. Never work in national politics again. Sounds like a threat. Did George Stephanopoulos reveal any of that before, during, and after the sit-down with Comey? Remind his audience? Or how about the fact that George donated $75 grand to the Clinton Foundation, which, of course, he didn't reveal to his viewers during an interview with Peter Schweitzer back in 2015? Stephanopoulos, he had to apologize after being exposed, but there wasn't wall-to-wall coverage over that. And all of it explains why Stephanopoulos put on the kid gloves and didn't ask James Comey the tough questions. Now, one thing is just a fact. I am honest about who I am and what my political beliefs are. I am an unapologetic conservative. I am a Trump supporter. I support Reagan economic policies and peace through strength. For example, where was the follow-up question when Comey admitted he didn't tell Donald Trump that Hillary Clinton paid for the unverified dossier, which, by the way, was used to get a FISA warrant to spy on an American? Watch this.
Did you tell him that the Steele dossier had been financed by his political opponents?
No. I don't even think I used the term Steele dossier. I just talked about additional material.
But did he have a right to know that?
That had been financed by his political opponents? I don't know the answer to that. It wasn't necessary for my goal, which was to alert him that we had this information.
Oh, wait, George Stephanopoulos, he's a journalist, right? Well, why didn't he ask Comey to respond to the information in the Grassley-Graham memo that the bulk of the FISA application to spy on a Trump campaign associate consisted of the dossier that he didn't vet, that he had a legal obligation, an FBI protocol obligation to do? And why didn't Stephanopoulos ask if Comey lied to a FISA court and federal judges on 4 separate occasions by not revealing that the dossier was funded by Hillary Clinton and the DNC, whose finances she controlled? Why didn't Stephanopoulos ask Comey to respond to what his former deputy director, Andrew McCabe, said about the dossier? Without it, there never would have been a FISA application. And the list goes on. Now, Stephanopoulos, he lobbed up softball question after softball question, never challenged or pressed Comey. Why should he? He got the first interview. Why should he? He's friends with the Clintons. Then over there at fake news CNN, you have Jake Tapper. Well, I'll just let the great one, Mark Levin, handle this part.
Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper was a spokesman for Marjorie Margolis Mezvinsky, who is a congresswoman, or was, from the 13th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. Her son married Chelsea Clinton. I mentioned that, too. Does Jake Tapper ever mention that? No. Does Jake Tapper ever mention that he was a spokesman for Handgun Control, Inc.? No.
Oh, so the fake news CNN, did they ever disclose all of this when he hosted CNN's gun control town hall a few months ago? And I wonder if Jake is going to disclose all of this on a show tomorrow. I doubt it. Now, none of this should be surprising. Now, according to the Center for Public Integrity, back during the campaign, 96% of presidential campaign donations from journalists, they went to Hillary Clinton. You heard me right, 96%. Will all those people now come clean about their political contributions and their support for Hillary Clinton? Or what about, as WikiLeaks exposed, that top journalists from ABC, Bloomberg, CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, many of these outlets, remember they dined at a key Clinton staffer's house right before Hillary launched her campaign, ate their food, drank their wine? If all those journalists did in fact attend, why didn't they tell you about it? Or how about these relationships? Does the media find these problematic? You got reports, Virginia Mosley, a senior vice president at CNN, married to Thomas Nides, who served as the undersecretary of state for Hillary Clinton. We know Claire Shipman, reporter, ABC, married to former Obama White House press secretary Jay Carney, former Obama national security advisor Susan Rice. Her husband used to work at ABC News. Does the media find any of this troubling? This is only a small sampling of stuff I could bring up. Did they raise red flags about any of this? Then there is the epitome of the Washington, D.C. sewer and swamp, the dozens of journalists that went to work for the Obama administration. Media Research pointed out the total number reached as high as 30. It got so bad that back in 2013, even the liberal Washington Post was forced to cover it and ask this question. So what to make of all the family ties between the news media and the Obama administration? Great question. The answer is nothing. No one in the media cared because their savior, the chosen one, Barack Obama, was president. But if a Fox News Channel contributor goes to work for the White House, God help us all. It was the highlight of these journalists' careers to suck up and defend Obama's disastrous record. They never vetted him, and they never told you how bad his achievements or lack thereof were 8 years later.
Remind the audience about when they left. I never get tired of that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite tapes. All right, you really want? All right, I'm in the middle of a really thoughtful mini monologue here, and you're like,
it was so good.
You stepped right on with the Senate. All right, let's play the montage.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Do it. I personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point. At real Donald Trump. At real Donald Trump. At least I will go down as a president.
So basically, this is the beginning of the end for Trump.
The beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end?
It's probably starting of the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
The strongest person usually isn't the loudest one in the room.
So right now, we have Hillary's about a 75 or an 80% favorite. We have different versions of the forecast you can look at.
Poll has Hillary Clinton up by double digits nationally, 12 points, 50 to 38, a four-way race.
Clinton leading in Florida, Clinton leading in North Carolina, Clinton leading in Ohio, Clinton leading in Nevada. I could go on and on and on.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. Come on, buddy.
We have a major projection right now. Donald Trump will take Ohio. Actually, I project Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida. Huge win for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, while we project, will win in Kentucky, in Indiana, with its 11 electoral votes. West Virginia, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, North Dakota, with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona, Kansas, with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes.
Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business. A lot of people have laughed at me over the years. Now they're not laughing so much, I'll tell you.
I